Lily was not like other elves. Her pointed ears and glowing green eyes made humans stare. She didn't care. She had 3 small dragons that followed her everywhere. They were her family, her protection, her everything. The dragons had names. Red was fierce and loved to breathe small flames. Blue was calm and could create mist. Purple was smart and seemed to understand human speech. All 3 were the size of house cats, but deadly when threatened. Lily lived on Earth after the Great War humans had won, against most alien races, but elves were different. Elves had helped humans defeat the worst enemies from the stars. In return, humans gave elves sanctuary on their planet, but trust was fragile. Her small apartment in the human city was enough for her and the dragons. The government paid her a small amount each month for her service during the war. She spent most days walking in the park with her dragons or reading books about human history. One day, as Lily walked her dragons in the park, a tall human woman approached. Her name badge said Carol, Park Security Officer. "I need to speak with you about your dragons, miss." Carol said, her voice firm but not unkind. Lily tensed. Dragons were legal pets for elves, but some humans still feared them. "What about my dragons? They have permits," Lily said, her hand moving to Red, who was starting to smoke from his nostrils. "Not here. Follow me, please." Carol looked around nervously, against her better judgment. Lily followed. The dragons sensed her worry. Blue climbed to her shoulder. Purple walked beside her. Red stayed in her arms, ready to attack. They entered a small security office. Carol closed the door and the windows. "Listen carefully. The government is rounding up all elves with dragon companions. Something about a new threat. They think dragonfire can be used for weapons." Lily felt cold fear. "How do you know this?" "My sister works for the government. She warned me. They start tomorrow morning. You need to leave the city." "Why are you helping me?" Lily asked, suspicious of human kindness. "I fought alongside elves in the war. I know what you sacrificed." Carol handed her a small chip. "You need to find Mary Winters. She lives in the mountains. She can hide you and your dragons. This chip has her location." Lily took the chip. "Thank you, don't thank me yet. You need to leave now. They monitor the train stations and airports, but not the old forest paths. Take the east trail through Wilson Forest. Stay off main roads that night." Lily packed 1 bag. She placed the dragons in their travel harnesses. They sensed danger and stayed quiet. She left her apartment at midnight when most humans were asleep. The forest was dark, but elves could see well in darkness. The dragons provided warmth as she walked. The chip led her east toward the mountains. Each step took her further from human cities toward safety. After 2 days of walking, Lily heard engines, human vehicles. She hid with her dragons under thick bushes. Government agents in black uniforms searched the forest with scanners. Purple chirped softly. Red and blue stayed silent. Lily held her breath. The agents passed by, missing them by meters. When they left, Lily continued her journey. On the 3rd day, rain fell hard. The path became mud. Lily slipped often. The dragons struggled in the wet conditions. They needed shelter. A small cabin appeared through the trees. Smoke rose from its chimney. Lily approached carefully. The dragons sensed no danger. Purple nudged her forward. Lily knocked on the door. A human woman opened it. She had gray hair and kind eyes. "I was wondering when you'd arrive." She smiled. Mary Winters, Carol called ahead. The cabin was warm and smelled like herbs. The dragons relaxed immediately, stretching their wings by the fire. Mary offered Lily dry clothes and hot soup. "Why does the government want our dragons?" Lily asked as she warmed her hands. "It's not just the dragons, they want elves too," Mary explained. "They discovered that elf blood combined with dragonfire creates a powerful energy source. They want to use it for weapons. We need to warn others," Lily said. "Already done." Mary pointed to a communication device. "Many elves and dragons are heading here. The mountains have caves where we can hide." "But for how long?" Lily asked. "We can't hide forever." Mary smiled. We don't need to hide forever. We just need time. My human friends and I have a plan. The government doesn't speak for all humans. Many of us believe in the alliance with elves. What plan, Lily? Asked Mary. Showed her a map of a hidden valley. Between these mountains is a place scanners can't reach. The rock contains minerals that block signals. We can build there. Create a sanctuary for elves and dragons, where humans and elves work together. Can it work? Lily wondered. It has to. Mary said, simply, the alternative is war again. And nobody wins in war. That night as Lily slept with her dragons curled around her, she dreamed of a new home. A place where elves and their dragons could live in peace with friendly humans. A place where differences were celebrated, not feared. She woke to the sound of rain on the roof. Mary was already up making breakfast. The dragons played on the floor, chasing each other. Today we move, Mary said. Others arrived in the night. We need to reach the valley before the government expands their search. They packed quickly. The rain had stopped, but clouds still hung low. Mary led the way through hidden trails. Lily followed with her dragons. 8 other elves joined, them each with their own dragon companions. They moved silently through the forest, avoiding main paths. By midday, they reached a narrow canyon. This leads to the valley, Mary explained. The walls will hide us from aerial scanners. The passage was tight and dark. The dragons seemed nervous. Red kept close to Lily. Blue flew ahead, scouting. Purple chirped warnings whenever loose rocks threatened to fall. The elves moved carefully, supporting each other. After an hour of slow progress, the canyon opened. Up the hidden valley stretched before them, green and lush, with a small lake in the center. Perfect, Mary said. This is where we build our future. Some elves were already there, setting up shelters, planting gardens, training their dragons. Lily felt hope. For the first time since leaving the city, Red, Blue, and Purple ran forward, eager to meet other dragons. Mary introduced Lily to the community leaders. They assigned her a small cabin near the lake. You will help with dragon training, she was told. Your dragons are well behaved, others can learn from them. Lily nodded, happy to have a purpose. As days passed, more elves arrived. Some brought human allies, people who disagreed with the government, people who remembered fighting alongside elves during the Great War. The valley became a busy place of construction and planning. Lily spent her days teaching young dragons to obey commands, to use their abilities wisely. Red demonstrated controlled fire breathing. Blue showed how to create mist. For concealment, Purple taught communication techniques. The dragon community grew stronger, more disciplined. Human allies brought news from the cities. The government search had expanded. They were offering rewards for information about elven hideouts. They claimed it was for public safety, but the truth was clear. They wanted the power that came from elves and dragons. Mary called a meeting. We need defenses, she said. We have time now, but not forever. The government will eventually find this place. Everyone agreed. Elves with construction skills began building walls. Humans with military experience set up guard posts. Dragons were trained for patrol and alert duties. Lily found herself becoming a leader. Other elves looked to her for guidance. Her dragons had gained respect among the dragon pack. She had not expected this role, but accepted it. The alliance between elves, humans, and dragons was precious. It needed protection. One evening, as she watched the sunset from the lake shore, Mary joined her. The first phase is complete, she said. We have shelter, food, water, and basic defenses. Now we need to prepare for the next step. What next step? Lily asked. We can't hide forever. We need to negotiate from strength. Mary replied. First, we become strong, then we offer peace of cat, M&T, user data, outputs in our elf dragon story. Part 2, MD. EOF. The valley transformed with each passing day. Elves and their human allies worked tirelessly, building homes, setting up defenses, growing food. Lily watched as their community took shape. Her dragons grew stronger under her care. Red now breathed hotter flames that could melt metal. Blue created mist thick enough to hide the entire valley for short periods. Purple had learned to mimic human words, a rare skill, even among the most intelligent dragons. Mary organized the community into groups. Each had specific tasks. Defense teams patrolled the borders. Food teams tended gardens and hunted. Construction teams built stronger shelters. Communication teams maintained contact with allies in human cities. Lily led the dragon trainers, teaching the creatures to work together to combine their abilities. The dragons seemed to understand the importance of their training. They worked hard, rarely playing. One morning a scout returned with urgent news. Government forces were setting up camps in the surrounding mountains. They had new technology scanners that could detect dragon fire from miles away. They were getting closer. Lily called her dragons. They sensed her worry. Red growled. Softly, Blue pressed against her leg. Purple spoke in his broken way. Danger coming. The dragon training would need to accelerate. The community needed their power sooner than expected. Mary called an emergency meeting. We have 2 weeks at most, she told the gathered elves and humans. We need to speed up our preparations. The defense walls must be finished. The cave shelters expanded. The dragons must be ready. The community worked through the nights. Elves needed little sleep. Humans pushed themselves. To keep up, dragons carried heavy materials, flew scouting missions, hunted for extra food. The valley hummed with activity. Lily noticed something strange about her dragons. They were growing faster than normal. Red was now the size of a large dog. Blue could fly higher than ever. Purple spoke in complete sentences, though simple ones. The other dragons showed similar changes. Mary noticed too. Your dragons, Lily. They grow quickly. It's the valley, she explained. The minerals in the rocks accelerate dragon development. The legends say this place was a dragon nursery in ancient times. The other dragon trainers reported the same. Their companions were growing larger, stronger, smarter. Some were developing new abilities, breathing frost, creating lightning, storing sunlight to release as energy. The oldest elven texts mentioned such powers, but few had seen them in modern times. The government doesn't understand what they're hunting. Lily said to Mary, these aren't pets. They're becoming true dragons, the ancient kind. The kind that bonded with elf riders to create the most powerful force the world had ever known. That night, Lily read the ancient scrolls Mary had preserved. The bonding ritual was described in detail. An elf and dragon joining minds, becoming one consciousness, sharing strength and power. It was dangerous. The texts warned many had died in the attempt, but those who succeeded became something greater than either alone. Lily looked at her dragons now sleeping peacefully. Could they attempt the ritual? Were they ready? Was she? A human scout arrived the next day with worse news. The government had developed weapons designed specifically for dragons, guns that fired nets coated with chemicals to neutralize dragon fire, tranquilizers, strong enough to drop a fully grown dragon, sound devices that caused dragons pain but didn't affect humans or elves. They were preparing for a massive operation to capture every dragon and the elves who kept them. We need to accelerate our plans, Mary said, looking grim. Lily, we need the dragons at full strength. We need riders. The ancient ways must return. Lily nodded. I was thinking the same, but the bonding is dangerous. Not everyone will survive. Others heard them talking. Other elves with dragons growing rapidly. Those interested in becoming riders gathered to discuss. The risks were explained. 15 elves, including Lily, volunteered. The strongest elves with the strongest dragons. The ritual would take place at the next full moon, in 3 days. Preparation began immediately. The volunteers fasted, cleaned their bodies with special herbs, meditated to clear their minds. The dragons were prepared too. Bathed in mountain spring water, fed special diets of meat and minerals, given space to rest and gather strength. The full moon approached. The community grew quiet, tense with anticipation. The future depended on the success of the ritual. If it failed, they would have no defense against the government forces. The night of the full moon arrived. The 15 volunteers gathered in a circle in the center of the valley. their dragons beside them. Mary and the human allies watched from a distance. The elven elders led the ceremony, speaking ancient words, painting symbols on. The elves and dragons, Lily knelt beside her 3 dragons. They would attempt something even more dangerous, a triple bonding. No record existed of an elf bonding with multiple dragons. But Lily refused to choose between them. They were a family. They would bond together or not at all. The ritual began at midnight. The elves drank a special tea made from herbs that grew only in the valley. It opened their minds, made them receptive to the dragon consciousness. The dragons ate crystals from the cave, walls that glowed with inner fire. The elves placed their hands on their dragons and spoke the ancient words of binding. Light surrounded each pair, a visible connection forming between elf and dragon. Some cried out in pain. Some dragons roared. Others remained silent, trembling with the effort. Lily felt her mind expanding. Red, blue, and purple entered her consciousness. Their thoughts, emotions, memories became part of her. She saw through their eyes, felt the air beneath their wings, tasted the fire. In their bellies they felt her thoughts too. Her love for them, her determination to protect them, her hope for the future. The connection grew stronger, the light around them brighter than the others. Elves and humans watching gasped as Lily and her 3 dragons rose slightly off the ground, suspended in the light. The process lasted hours. As dawn approached, the lights faded. The elves and dragons collapsed exhausted. Not all had succeeded. 3 elves lay still, their dragons keening in grief. 2 dragons had not survived the ritual, their elven partners weeping beside them. But 10 pairs had completed the bond, Lily and her 3 dragons among them. Those who had succeeded stood shakily, feeling the new connection. The dragons seemed different. Already they were growing larger, their scales harder, their eyes more intelligent. Mary approached Lily. "You succeeded," she said with awe. "Not just bonded, but triple bonded. I've never seen anything like it. How do you feel?" Lily tried to find words. The dragon's thoughts flowed through her mind. She could feel what they felt, see through their eyes if she concentrated. It was overwhelming but wonderful. "I feel complete," she said finally. "Like I found parts of myself I never knew were missing." The dragons moved in perfect harmony with her. No commands needed. They were extensions of her will, she of theirs. The successful riders spent the day learning to manage the bond, testing the connection, finding its limits. Their dragons continued to grow. Red, blue, and purple were now the size of horses. Their powers had amplified. Red could create controlled fireballs that exploded on impact. Blue generated mist so thick it was like solid wall. Purple could project thoughts to other elves and humans. The other, bonded dragons showed similar growth in size and ability. The riders practiced flying. The sensation of soaring through the air, connected to a dragon's mind, was like nothing Lily had ever experienced. Pure freedom. Pure joy. But there was no time for celebration. That evening, scouts reported government forces moving closer. They had discovered the entrance to the canyon. They would reach the valley within 2 days. The community prepared for battle. The riders would lead the defense. The humans would operate weapons they had built. The unbonded elves would protect the children and elders. The plan was simple: show such strength that the government would have to negotiate. They didn't want war, just recognition of their rights to live freely, with their dragon companions. Lily stood with Mary watching the final preparations. Her dragons, now massive and powerful, stood behind her. "We never wanted this fight," Mary said sadly. "I know," Lily replied. "But we will finish it. Tomorrow we show them the true power of dragons and their riders. Tomorrow we change the world." Red, blue, and purple rumbled in agreement, their thoughts merging with Lily's in a wave of determination. The ancient bond had returned to the world, and nothing would ever be the same. Cat, M&T, user data, outputs, Elf Dragon, Story, Part 3. MD, EOF dawn broke over the hidden valley. The riders and their dragons prepared for battle. Lily checked the defenses one last time. Her mind connected to red, blue, and purple, feeling their readiness, their strength. The other bonded pairs stood ready, the dragons now massive and powerful with scales that shimmered in the morning light. The riders in light armor made from dragon scales, shed during growth. The valley entrance was fortified, but they knew it wouldn't stop the government forces for long. Mary gathered everyone for final instructions. Remember, our goal is not to destroy, but to demonstrate our power. We want to force negotiations, not start a war, hurt only if necessary, kill only if no other option exists. The human allies nodded grimly. The elves bowed in respect. The unbonded dragons growled their understanding. Scouts reported the enemy was an hour away. 300 soldiers with specialized weapons tanks, with dragon-proof armor aircraft with nets and tranquilizer guns. They expected to find frightened refugees. Instead, they would face dragon riders. Lily took her position on a cliff overlooking the canyon entrance. Red beside her. Blue circled above. Purple stood, ready to relay messages to other riders. The dragons had grown again overnight. Red was now 30 feet from nose to tail with wings twice that span. Blue was slightly smaller, but faster. Purple matched red in size, but with a leaner build. Their powers had grown too. Red could create fire that burned for days even underwater. Blue generated mist that could cover the entire valley in seconds. Purple could project thoughts to anyone in the valley and understand any language. The first soldiers appeared. At the canyon entrance, they moved cautiously. Weapons ready, scanning for threats. They didn't look up. Lily signaled to Blue, who released a thin stream of mist that settled around the soldiers, harmless but disorienting. The soldiers activated their masks. Communication systems crackled as they reported the mist. Their commanders ordered them forward into the valley. More soldiers followed. Tanks, rolled-in aircraft hovered above. Mary gave the signal. Lily and Red launched into the air. The other riders followed. The mist cleared, revealing 10 massive dragons with riders soaring above the valley. The soldiers froze in shock. Their intelligence had mentioned elves with pet dragons, small creatures barely a threat. These were monsters from legend, powerful, ancient. The soldiers raised their weapons, the tanks took aim, the aircraft moved to deploy nets. Lily directed Red to breathe fire, not at the soldiers, but at the ground before them. A wall of flame erupted 20 feet high. The heat forced the soldiers back. Their special nets burned, their tanks stopped, unable to pass. The other dragons demonstrated their powers. Blue created a mist barrier behind the troops, cutting off retreat. A dragon with lightning breath disabled the tanks. Electrical systems. Another froze the aircraft rotors, forcing them to land. Purple projected a simple message into the minds of every human there. We don't want war, we want peace with respect. The soldier's commander stepped forward. She wore the insignia of a general. Her weapons remained holstered. I wish to speak with your leader, she called. Lily directed Red to land. The massive dragon touched down with surprising grace. Lily dismounted but maintained the bond. The general showed no fear despite standing before a dragon that could swallow her whole. I am General Susan Wright, she said. I command this operation. Are you in charge here? No. Lily replied. Mary approached from the community shelter. She is our leader. The general nodded to Mary. I was not informed of dragons of this size or elves who could ride them. This changes the situation. I request a ceasefire to discuss terms. Mary agreed. Both sides stood down, though the dragons remained vigilant. The general was invited to the community center. Her soldiers remained at the valley entrance under watch. The negotiations lasted hours. The general admitted the government wanted dragon fire as an energy source and elven blood for its healing properties. But they had expected to find small dragons, pets, not these ancient creatures of power. The risks now outweighed the benefits. She said, I cannot recommend a military solution to my superiors, but we need assurances. You need guarantees. Mary outlined their terms: the valley and surrounding mountains, would be recognized as sovereign territory for elves, dragons, and their human allies. In return, they would provide limited dragon fire for energy research and elven healing services for human hospitals. No blood would be taken, no dragons captured. The alliance would be renewed with respect on both sides. The general considered, "This is beyond my authority to approve. But I will take this proposal to my government. I request 2 of your people accompany me to speak directly to our leaders." Lily volunteered immediately. Mary agreed, but with a condition: Lily would go with her dragons as proof of their power. The general accepted, though she looked nervous at the thought of dragons at government headquarters. "Give us 3 days to present your case," she said. "Then we will return with an answer." The general and her forces withdrew from the valley. The community watched them go, uncertain if they had won a reprieve or merely delayed the inevitable. Mary gathered the riders. "We showed our strength today," she said. "Now we must show our wisdom, Lily. You speak for us all. The government must understand we seek partnership, not domination." Lily nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. Her dragons sensed her concern, sending waves of confidence. Through their bond, preparations for the government meeting began. Lily practiced with her dragons, ensuring perfect control. Red could now focus his fire to the precision of a welding torch. Blue could create shapes with mist, solid enough to walk. Purple could project clear images and complex thoughts to multiple minds simultaneously. The other riders worked with their dragons too, developing tight formations, impressive displays of power meant to awe without threatening the humans, and unbonded elves continued strengthening the valley defenses just in case. The day arrived. Lily and 2 other riders prepared for the journey. Their dragons were groomed, scales polished. The government had arranged a meeting in a large open field near the capital. 4 riders would represent the valley community: Lily, with her 3 dragons, Anne with her frost dragon, Susan with her lightning dragon, and Eric, with his earth dragon Mary, would accompany them along with 3 human allies who had military backgrounds. The journey would take hours, even with the dragons flying at speed. They left at dawn. The field was surrounded by government vehicles. Soldiers stood in formation. News cameras were present, kept at a distance. The general waited. In the center, with 6 officials in formal attire, the dragons landed in perfect formation. The crowd gasped at their size, their beauty, their obvious intelligence. Lily dismounted, maintaining her bond. The officials tried to hide their fear. They failed. Red sensed their emotions, growled softly. Lily calmed him with a thought: "Welcome." General Wright stepped forward. The officials behind her introduced themselves. Representatives from Defense, Energy, Health, Foreign Affairs, Interior, and the President's office. "We have reviewed your proposal. The President wishes to see these dragons for himself before making a decision. He will arrive shortly." The group waited. The dragons sat calmly, though alert to any threat. The officials asked questions about dragon abilities, elf culture, the bond between them. Lily answered honestly but carefully. A helicopter approached. The dragons watched it without concern. The President landed and walked toward the group, flanked by security. His expression showed curiosity, rather than fear. "I've read about dragons in mythology," he said, "but never expected to meet them. The story goes that dragons once helped build human civilization before retreating from the world. Is that true?" Purple projected an image into the President's mind: ancient dragons helping humans build pyramids, temples, massive structures. Beyond words, the dragon conveyed. The President stepped back, startled, then smiled. Impressive. The official negotiations began. The President listened as Mary explained their proposal. The dragons demonstrated their abilities, carefully controlled. The President consulted with his officials, then made his decision. "We accept the foundation of your proposal. The valley and mountains will be recognized as sovereign territory in exchange for regular energy supply from dragon fire and healing clinics staffed by volunteer elves. No forced participation. No experimentation without consent. A formal treaty will be drafted." Lily felt relief flow through her. The dragons relaxed visibly. But the President had one more request. A dragon embassy in the capital. A place where humans could learn about dragons, where dragons could learn about humans, where the alliance could grow stronger. Mary looked to Lily and the other riders. They conferred through their dragon's telepathic connection. An embassy would mean exposure, vulnerability, but also opportunity to build understanding. Lily agreed with conditions. Dragon riders would rotate embassy duty. No dragon would be required to stay in the city more than 1 month per year. The embassy grounds would be sovereign territory. The president accepted. That evening, as they flew back to the valley, the sun setting behind them, Lily reflected on their journey. From hiding to negotiating as equals. The dragons shared her thoughts, sending images of the future they imagined: elves, dragons, and humans working together. Sharing knowledge, building a world where differences were celebrated. Red showed cities with landing platforms for dragons. Blue imagined schools where human and elf children learned together. Purple. Cat, M&T user data, outputs, elf dragon, story, part 4. MD, EOF. The treaty signing was scheduled for the next full moon, a symbolic date chosen to represent new beginnings. For the elven community, it held deeper significance. The dragons continued to grow and develop. The bonded pairs spent hours each day strengthening their connection. The valley thrived as a place of harmony, where elves, dragons, and human allies lived and worked together. Lily and her 3 dragons became the heart of the community. Their unique triple bond fascinated everyone. Construction began on the dragon embassy in the human capital, a beautiful structure with open spaces for dragons to land and rest. Gardens filled with plants from the valley, meeting rooms designed for all species. Lily would be the first ambassador, spending 1 month there, with her dragons establishing protocols for future representatives. Mary would handle community leadership in her absence. They prepared carefully, creating documents explaining elven and dragon culture, designing educational programs for human children, planning cultural exchanges. 2 days before the full moon, Lily noticed changes in her dragons. Red, blue, and purple became restless. They ate more, slept less. Their scales developed a pearlescent sheen that seemed to glow from within. Their eyes changed color, constantly shifting through rainbow hues. Their powers fluctuated. Red created fire that burned cold. Blue generated mist that sparkled with tiny lightning bolts. Purple spoke in ancient languages none had heard before. The other bonded dragons showed similar changes, though less dramatic. Mary consulted the oldest texts. The dragons approached skyfall, she explained, the final maturation. When they connect fully to their magical nature, the triple bond you share is accelerating and amplifying the process. Your dragons will reach it first, the others will follow. This hasn't happened in 10,000 years. The texts say little about what to expect, only that the world feels it when dragons reach their full potential. The day before the treaty signing, government representatives arrived early to tour the valley, to see firsthand the community they would formally recognize. Lily greeted them with her dragons. The officials seemed nervous but curious. One woman, a scientist specializing in energy resources, asked many questions about dragon fire. How hot was it? How was it controlled? Could it be stored? The questions seemed innocent, but Lily sensed an underlying purpose. Purple confirmed her suspicion, projecting the woman's hidden thoughts. To her mind, dragon fire was still a resource to be exploited. That evening, as the visitors retired to guest quarters, Mary called an emergency meeting. The scientist, Dr. Linda Clark, has connections to military research. Her interest in dragon fire goes beyond the treaty terms. Purple read her thoughts. She believes dragon fire mixed with certain minerals could create weapons more powerful than nuclear bombs. She plans to propose secret research once the treaty is signed. This revelation stunned the community. The trust they were building seemed suddenly fragile. Should they confront the visitors? Cancel the treaty? Return to hiding? The debate lasted hours. Voices grew heated. Dragons became agitated, sensing their riders' distress. Lily remained silent, listening to all sides, consulting through her bond with red, blue, and purple. Finally, she spoke. "We proceed with the treaty," she said. but we add new terms. Complete transparency in all Dragonfire research. Joint Oversight Committee's Dragon Riders present during all experiments. The others considered her proposal. It offered protection while maintaining the path to peace. They agreed. The night of the full moon arrived. The treaty signing was scheduled for midnight. The human delegation gathered in the ceremonial clearing. The elven community surrounded them. Bonded dragons and their riders formed an inner circle. Lily and her 3 dragons stood. With Mary at the center, red, blue, and purple had grown unnaturally still throughout the day. Their eyes fixed on the sky, as if waiting, as if listening. The treaty document lay on a stone table, beautifully written in 3 languages, Human Elven and the ancient dragon script. As the moon rose full and bright in the clear sky, the dragons began to hum, a deep vibration felt rather than heard. The ground trembled slightly. Plants seemed to glow with inner light. The humans looked around confused. The elves watched in anticipation. The ritual of Skyfall had begun without planning or announcement. The dragons had chosen this moment. Red, blue, and purple raised their heads toward the moon. Their scales began to shine so brightly that onlookers shielded their eyes. Lily felt the change through their bond. Her mind expanded beyond physical limits. She saw not just through her dragon's eyes, but somehow through the moon itself. The stars became clear points of consciousness. The earth beneath, a living being. The other bonded dragons joined the hum. Their riders gasped as the connection deepened. The unbonded dragons formed an outer circle, adding their voices. Even the smallest dragons hummed in harmony. The sound grew until it seemed the whole valley vibrated. Mary recognized what was happening. The Skyfall ritual, she whispered to the bewildered human officials. This hasn't occurred in millennia. The dragons are connecting to their cosmic nature. The officials watched, transfixed. The scientist Dr. Clark took notes, her earlier schemes forgotten in the face of true dragon magic. The president stood in respectful silence, understanding that he witnessed something beyond human comprehension. Suddenly, a beam of moonlight focused on red, blue, and purple. The light seemed solid, a pathway from moon to earth. The 3 dragons rose slowly into the air. Lily felt herself lifted with them, though her feet remained on the ground. Her consciousness soared. Her perception expanded. She saw the valley from above, then the country, the continent, the planet, the solar system. Somehow she maintained awareness of her physical form standing beside Mary, the treaty papers in hand. But her mind traveled with her dragons along the moonbeam. Red, blue, and purple changed as they rose. Their forms grew indistinct, their separate bodies merging into one massive dragon with 3 heads, 3 sets of wings, 3 tails. Their scales became pure light, their eyes galaxies, their breath, the solar wind. They reached the peak of the moonbeam and roared. The sound echoed across dimensions. Lily heard it with her ears and with her soul. The other dragons answered. Their riders connected through them. The unbonded dragons added their voices. The elves sang an ancient melody. The humans stood in awe. The triple dragon descended, changed, larger, more powerful, but also more serene. Red, blue, and purple had individual forms again, but something connected them visibly. A thread of pure light ran between them. Their scales now contained patterns like star maps. Their eyes held knowledge beyond words. Their movements created music. Lily welcomed them back into her consciousness, the bond now unbreakable. They were one being in 4 bodies, dragon and elf, connected forever. Mary approached, carrying the treaty. The transformation complete. Shall we proceed? She asked. Lily nodded. The president stepped forward, still dazed by what he had witnessed but composed enough to fulfill his duty. The signing began, each party reading the document, making final adjustments, adding Lily's new terms about transparency and oversight. Dr. Clark objected, but was overruled. The president, recognizing the wisdom and caution when dealing with power beyond human understanding, when all parties had signed, The president spoke formally. We recognize the sovereign Valley of Dragons and their elven companions as an independent nation, allied with humanity. We pledge cooperation, protection, and respect. We welcome you as partners. In building a better world, Mary responded with equal formality. We accept this recognition. We pledge our knowledge, our healing arts, our dragon fire for peaceful purposes. We welcome humans as friends and allies. Lily and her dragons added their pledge. Through Purple, who now spoke with perfect clarity, we dragons pledge our power to protect this world, to share our magic for creation, not destruction, to teach what we know, to learn what we don't. This valley is our home, this planet, our responsibility, this alliance our future. The dragons roared in agreement, the elves cheered, the humans applauded. The treaty was sealed not just with signatures but with understanding. As dawn approached, the celebration continued. The dragons demonstrated their new abilities. Red created illusions of ancient dragon history. Blue conjured weather-changing clouds into shapes and patterns. Purple translated forgotten languages from elven artifacts. The human officials watched in wonder. Dr. Clark approached Lily. Hesitantly, I was wrong. She admitted, I saw dragonfire as a weapon. I see now it is much more a connection to something greater than ourselves. Can you forgive my limited vision? Lily sensed sincerity. Purple confirmed it. With understanding comes growth, she replied. The dragons accept your apology. The president requested a private meeting with Lily and Mary before departing. What we witnessed tonight changes everything, he said. Dragons are not just powerful animals, not just intelligent companions. They are connected to something beyond our comprehension. This treaty is more important than I realized. It isn't just about land rights or energy resources. It's about connecting humanity to something we lost long ago. A relationship with the magical nature of existence. Mary smiled. The ancient texts speak of a time when humans, dragons, and elves worked together in harmony, when magic and science were not separate paths but complementary approaches to understanding reality. Perhaps we can find that balance again. The president nodded thoughtfully. My administration will honor this treaty, but I cannot speak for future leaders. You must help us create a relationship. Cat, Emmett, user data, outputs Elf Dragon Story, Part 5, MD. EOF 1 year after the treaty signing, the Hidden Valley had transformed. The small community became a thriving nation. Dragon eggs hatched in record numbers. New buildings rose constructed. With dragon assistants, gardens flourished under elven care. Human visitors arrived daily. Diplomats, scientists, tourists, all eager to see the dragons. The embassy in the human capital became a center for cultural exchange. Human children lined up. For dragon rides, elven healers taught their methods to human doctors. Dragon fire powered new clean energy systems. Lily divided her time between ambassador duties and training new dragon riders. The triple dragons, red, blue, and purple, had become legendary. Their skyfall transformation inspired songs and stories. Their wisdom guided the community. Their power protected it. Red now created fire that could heal burns, even as it burned. Blue generated mist that made plants grow at miraculous speed. Purple spoke all languages, translated ancient texts, restored forgotten knowledge. The other dragons who reached Skyfall developed unique abilities. Each bond between dragon and rider produced different magic. Mary oversaw valley governance, establishing councils where elves, humans, and dragon riders made decisions together. Justice systems that respected all traditions. Education that combined elven, dragon, and human knowledge. The valley expanded as neighboring territories requested. Inclusion. Human towns where dragons were welcome. Wilderness areas where dragons could hunt. Neutral zones where all species could meet. Trade, celebrate. The nation grew, not through conquest, but through attraction. Others wanted the harmony they had created. The scientist Dr. Clark returned often, her military research abandoned in favor of studying dragon biology with dragon consent. Her team made remarkable discoveries. Dragon fire contained particles that defied known physics. Dragon scales, absorbed and stored solar energy. Dragon blood cells regenerated infinitely without mutation. These findings revolutionized human science. New medical treatments, energy systems, communication technologies emerged. All developed jointly, all benefiting, all species. The president kept his word, ensuring the treaty terms were honored, especially transparency and oversight. 6 months into her second year as ambassador, Lily noticed changes in the triple dragons. Their appetite increased. They slept more. Their scales developed new patterns, geometric shapes that seemed to move when observed directly. Red created fire that formed itself into living creatures that danced before dissolving blue, generated mist that carried dreams from person to person. Purple spoke in riddles and prophecies. The dragon elders recognized the signs. The triple dragons were preparing to breed. A rare event even more significant because of their unique bond. The preparations lasted months. The triple dragons selected a mountain peak accessible only by air. They created a nest unlike any seen before, crystals arranged in precise patterns, plants that glowed with inner light, a pool of water that reflected not the sky, but distant galaxies. The other Skyfall dragons helped, adding elements specific to their abilities. The elders explained that dragon breeding was more than physical reproduction. It was magical creation. New life formed from power and possibility as much as from biology. The triple dragons would produce eggs unlike any in living memory. Lily felt the process through their bond. Her dreams filled with cosmic imagery, stars being born, planets forming, life evolving. The triple dragons shared their experience with her. They were not just creating offspring. They were channeling creation itself. The government scientists begged to observe. Mary refused. This was sacred private, the most fundamental dragon magic. It would remain their secret. Human allies accepted this boundary with respect. Some mysteries were not for sharing, some knowledge not for exploitation. The breeding zone was declared absolutely restricted, guarded by the most powerful dragons. On the night of the winter solstice it happened. Lily woke from deep sleep, feeling the triple dragon's call. She flew to the mountain peak alone. The nest glowed with unearthly light. Red, blue, and purple circled above. They no longer appeared as separate dragons. Their forms merged into pure energy, a miniature sun hovering above the nest. From this light, objects fell like meteors, 9 eggs, each unique, one black as space with stars moving across its surface, one clear as crystal showing storms and lightning within, one covered in symbols from every known language. 3 eggs, swirled with elemental patterns, fire, water, earth. 3 eggs pulsed with light, dark dawn. The dragons reformed, separated, exhausted but triumphant. News of the 9 eggs spread through the community. The elders called it a miracle. 9 eggs from a triple bonded set. Such fertility was unprecedented. Each egg radiated power unlike normal dragon eggs, which remained dormant until close to hatching. These eggs affected their surroundings. Plants grew faster near the crystal egg. Weather changed. Near the elemental eggs, dreams intensified. Near the black egg, the dragon elders built special chambers to house them. Lily visited daily, feeling the embryonic dragons through her bond with their parents. They were already conscious, already aware, already learning. The human government requested information about the eggs. The council debated how much to share. Mary argued for openness within limits. The eggs' existence could be acknowledged, their special nature explained in general terms. But specific details about their powers kept private until the hatchlings emerged, until their nature became clear. The council agreed. The president was informed personally by Lily, the triple dragons accompanying her. They showed him mental images of the eggs without revealing their location. He understood the significance promised, continued protection. 3 months after their creation, the eggs began to hatch. The community gathered to witness. First, the black egg cracked. A dragon emerged with scales like night sky, its eyes containing actual stars. It breathed not fire but gravity, a force that could attract or repel. The crystal egg hatched next, releasing a dragon transparent as glass, its organs visible, its bones like diamond. Its breath created perfect geometric shapes in the air. The language egg produced a dragon covered in shifting text, words from every known tongue appearing, disappearing, reforming. Its breath conveyed pure meaning, transcending language. The elemental eggs hatched. Simultaneously, 3 dragons emerged, fire with scales hot to touch, water with fluid flowing form, earth with body like living stone. Their breaths combined created weather. They moved in perfect coordination, as if sharing one mind. The dawn eggs were last to hatch. 3 dragons identical in appearance, pure white at birth, their scales slowly taking on color as they experienced the world, their eyes changing hue with their emotions, their breath healing any wound, closing any rift even in the earth itself. 9 new dragons unlike any before. The community celebrated for days. The human government sent representatives bearing gifts, special foods, rare metals, beautiful art. The president himself attended, declaring the hatching a worldwide holiday Dragon Day. All 9 hatchlings bonded with elf riders carefully selected by the elders. Lily supervised the process, the triple dragons guiding their offspring, the new riders training intensively. The bonds formed smoothly. The hatchlings grew rapidly, showing powers beyond even Skyfall dragons. Their existence changed the balance of the world. Dragons were no longer a protected species. They were emerging as partners in shaping the future. 1 year after the hatching, the 9 young dragons reached maturity. Their riders mastered the bonds, their powers stabilized. The star dragon could create portals between distant locations. The crystal dragon could see all possibilities in any situation. The language dragon could communicate with any being, even plants and stones. The elemental dragons could transform matter from one state to another. The dawn dragons could heal not just bodies but minds, spirits, even land poisoned by pollution. These abilities transformed the alliance. Suddenly, problems thought unsolvable became manageable. Climate damage healed. Scarce resources created energy. Crises resolved. Communication barriers eliminated. The human nations watched with mixed emotions. Gratitude for dragon assistance. Fear of dragon power. Hope for continued partnership. Concern about dependency. The council recognized the delicate balance. Lily addressed the United Nations, the triple dragons projecting her words into the mind of each listener in their native language. "We understand your concerns," she said. "Dragons have returned to their full power after millennia of dormancy. This changes the world. But remember, we chose alliance, not dominance. We chose to hatch our eggs in the open, not in secret. We choose daily to work with humanity, not apart from it." The president supported her speech, adding, "We have seen in the Valley Nation what harmony between species can create. Advances in medicine technology, energy systems that benefit all elves could have kept their dragons hidden, developed their powers in secret, emerged as conquerors. Instead, they invited us to witness their rebirth, to share in their knowledge, to build together. This is not a threat. It is the greatest opportunity humanity has ever known." The United Nations voted to expand the original treaty, creating a worldwide framework for dragon-human-elf cooperation. Mary stepped down as Valley leader after 10 years. Lily was elected to replace her. The triple dragons, now massive and majestic, served as advisors to the council. Red created fire that could transform one element to another, solving resource shortages. Blue generated mist that